Morning all, I hope you're well. It's Ruth from Ideal Balance Coaching. I just wanted to check in live this morning just to talk to you about 5 simple tips to save more time. I'm just going to give it a little while and see if anyone jumps in and joins me live. According to my phone, this is my 10th live broadcast, so that's good news. Anyway, I will get started and hopefully someone will join me. So last week on my blog I wrote a post about this, and basically where it's come from is that I was doing some research from my ideal clients to kind of find out what they wanted from coaching, what kind of services and products they'd want me to create. And one of the questions I asked during that was, would you like more time for yourself? Now, unsurprisingly, majority of the people that filled in the questionnaire said that yes, they would like more time for themselves, which is completely understandable because life is busy, and particularly when you're running your own business and a service-based business where you're kind of reacting's not the right word, connecting with clients all the time, everything can feel like a lot to juggle, and time for self-care can kind of get deprioritised and pushed down the list. So because that's how they answered, it got me thinking about this and ways of saving time. And so these are my 5 tips for how I think you can make more time back in your day. So tip number 1 is that when you're working, actually work. Now, I had a client who used to work all hours, and when I asked them what would stop them actually shutting down at 5:30 p.m. and leaving, they told me that there was just no way they were going to get all their work done if they left work behind on time. So we were kind of looking through their day and trying to find ways that we could kind of reduce that so that they could leave work at 5:30. And what it turned out was it was actually taking them 90 minutes to start their day, because they'd come in, they'd have a cup of coffee, they'd have a chat with their friend at work, they'd kind of look on Facebook, and if they just kind of got to the office, got their coffee, sat down and started working, that would have been 90 minutes that they could have been working, which would have made it much easier for them to leave at the end of the day. So this is something I really truly believe. Hi, whoever's watching, say hello, because my phone doesn't tell me who you are. So before I started my coaching business, I actually ran a consultancy business working in IT, in children's social care. The reason I bring this up was because I actually managed to get 5 days work down into a 3-day week in order to do my coaching training and plan for my wedding and everything else that was going on at the time. And the way I did that was simply on those 3 days I was working, I got my head down and I worked. If I had paperwork to do, things to write, I wrote them. I worked from home for those days. I got really selective about what meetings I attended, what tasks. If you've got less time, you will prioritise what you need to do in that time a lot better, and that then frees up the rest of your time to do other things. I found when working in an office that actually putting headphones on was the best way to do that. You don't have to play music, but if you've got headphones on, people are less likely to distract you. But I'm sure, being that you're kind of entrepreneur, you don't necessarily work in an office, so a different technique for you is the Pomodoro technique. So this is where you set a timer for 25 minutes, and for those 25 minutes you work without distractions, and then at the end of that you take a 5-minute break, sit down again, carry on with another 25 minutes. And I personally have found that a really good way to help me stay focused, and it's not too long a period of time to stay focused, and then you get to move and do whatever else you need to do. So that was tip 1. When you're working, actually work. So tip 2 is know when you work best. So personally, I am a morning person. If I get up and start work in the morning, I'm much more productive than if I try and do my work in the afternoons or evenings. Because I know this about myself, I do make a conscious effort to get out of bed that bit earlier and do a lot of my work in the morning. And as an entrepreneur, that then means I can take my afternoons to do the things that I want to do, that I enjoy doing, and that's how I structure my day. But you might be the complete opposite. You might be a night owl, in which case, lay in, spend your morning pottering, doing the things you want to do, and actually knuckle down in the afternoon or after dinner to do work. Only you know how you work best, and you can structure your day to suit that. So that's tip 2. Tip 3 is saying no to yourself. Now, personally, I found since I started working from home and not having an office to go to, that it's really easy to get distracted by those little things around the house. You think, oh, I will just do the washing. I'm just going to, make myself another cup of tea and sit down for a bit before I start work. And there's no one there kind of breathing down your neck to make sure that you get back to work. One of the things I am terrible at is, like I said, my afternoons are not really great. So I think, well, I'll have my lunch and then I'll just watch an episode of something on Netflix. And I'm sure it's impossible to watch one episode of anything on Netflix. Before I know it, I've watched 3 episodes and I've not done anything else with my afternoon. I mean, thank God I have a dog to walk who starts whining at like 3:30 to get out of the house. Otherwise, I think I'd not be that productive because I'd spend all my time watching Netflix. So I've had to teach myself to say no to that. No, you can't sit down and watch Netflix at lunchtime. No, you can't do your washing before you do anything else. It's about prioritising what's important and saying no to the things that aren't. So that was tip 3, saying no to yourself. And just remember, the moment you can start saying no to yourself, it becomes a hell of a lot more easier to say no to other people that start pushing on your boundaries as well. Tip 4 is to do a time and cost audit. So firstly, spend, a couple of days a week actually timing how long it takes you to do tasks. And you can experiment with this and have a look at, if you just do one task, how long it takes. If you do Pomodoro, how long does it take with the breaks, to see what makes you more productive. But just record how long a task takes, because then when you're planning your days, you actually know that writing a blog post, say, actually takes you 4 hours. So rather than finding 2 hours to do it and then not being able to get it done, you can appropriately allocate the time. I mean, I think the most common thing for this outside of work is people go, oh, well, I'm going to go to the gym, that will only take an hour. But when you actually add in the time it takes to get to the gym, to get changed, to work out, to shower and to get home, it's actually more like 2 hours. And you haven't always budgeted your time accordingly to account for that. So doing a time audit and knowing how you spend your time is really the first way you can start changing your timetable to allow you enough time to do what you need to do. And then the second part of this is what I call a cost audit. Now this is where I would get you to work out roughly what your hourly rate is. I personally would work out an hourly rate 2 ways. The first way is with your current salary, and the second way is with the salary, the income that you want to be generating in your business, and divide those numbers by the number of hours you feel are available in a year for you. Again, when I do this by number of hours available just to do stuff, not just work stuff, but life stuff as well, which I calculate as roughly about 10 hours a day. Realistically, you have 10 hours in a day that you can actually do things with your life. So in the example that I've used when I wrote about this, I divided a salary of 60,000 by 3,360 hours, because that's how many hours there'd be in a year if it's a 10-hour day, and it gives you a cost of $17.85 per hour. Now what that cost allows you to do is just work out, firstly, if it's worth you spending your time on something. So I use my cleaner as a perfect example of this. I have a cleaner come to my house, they charge £10 an hour. My hourly rate is more than £10 an hour, so in terms of would I rather spend my time cleaning or doing something for my business, for me that's a no-brainer, because I'd rather invest the money in the cleaner and make money in my business than invest my time in cleaning and lose that income through the business. But it also just makes you step back and see how much money it's costing you to spend your time on stuff. So if you spend 6 hours on Facebook a day, and that's, you know, £20 a day, £20 an hour, that's a lot of money to be wasting browsing Facebook. It's just a metric that allows you to really prioritise what you want to spend your time on. And then, you know, you could say that spending time with your best friend is completely priceless, so it's totally worth not making that £20 an hour when you're actually socialising or spending time with your family or whatever it is. It's just a metric for measuring. I don't want you to like work out your hourly cost and then think that every hour of that you're not earning money is an hour that you're losing money. You know, different things have different ranks, and it's really important to not get wrapped up just in the money. It's just another way that will allow you to work out if you're spending your time on the right things. So that was tip 4. And if you really want to work that out, you can find the blog post where I have broken down how it works out in a bit more detail. So the final tip, tip 5, is hide your phone. So personally, I've actually turned off my Facebook notifications, my Instagram notifications, my email notifications. The only notifications left on my phone now are messaging notifications. So I'm not distracted by my phone buzzing, beeping, whatever all the time. But I know that if someone WhatsApps me or Facebook messages me and it pops up on my phone, I will just pick it up and look at it. It's automatic now. We spend all our time on our phones. So if you want to get something done and if you want to focus, put your phone completely out of sight so you can't see what messages are coming in, you can't see who's contacting you, you can't see what's going on in Facebook. And then even time that you might be doing something else, such as travelling or waiting for someone, again, try and put your phone away and do something different. You know, when I was commuting for work, I used that commute time to read books, to learn, to develop my knowledge, rather than just spending it playing games on my phone or doing Facebook. You know, you can't stop your time travelling, you can't stop time waiting, it just is inevitable. But you can use that time constructively, which means then when you're not doing those things, you've freed up the time that you'd have to do that. You're multitasking in a way that isn't going to affect your cognitive capabilities. I mean, sitting on a train doesn't take up any of your mental energy, which allows you to do something like read a book or learn something at the same time. So they're my 5 tips. When you're working, actually work. Know when you work best and structure your day to suit it. Learn to say no to yourself so you don't do things that are distracting you. Do a time cost audit and hide your phone. Hopefully you have found those helpful. If you have any questions about any of the tips, please just leave me a comment, ask the question, and I will try my best to answer. Okay, I hope you're having a good day, and I will speak to you all soon.